Yo, welcome back everybody. Today we have gameplay from nobody. No gameplay. This isn't a gameplay video. It's a brand new patch just dropped, hot off the press, just minutes ago when this video goes live. 28.6 is dropping. That is the mid-season patch, the big one. The second biggest patch of every 4-month patch cycle. This is the halfway point, and things are going to shake up. In previous, we'll call it the midway point patches, we've had mechanics added back to the game like buddies or Dark Moon prizes. We've had massive minion changes, hero changes, etc., etc. And without further ado, what's our new event or new change here with the 28.6? Quests. Quests are coming back again. Quests coming back to BGs, but you might be saying, Bofur, I just glanced at that text in front of me. It still says the word spells. Why are spells in if quests are in? Because both are in. Big indication here, wink wink, that maybe spells are permanent. Might be staying in the game. A lot of people have been out there going, what if we combine old events? What if we do anomalies and buddies? What if we do blah, blah, blah? This is kind of the first time we're going to see that. We got spells that augment some of those old quest requirements. They're going to make some of them a lot easier to get, some of them a lot harder to get. And then pair with those quest rewards. Honestly, this could get pretty crazy pretty quick. Without any further ado over here, let's get diving into the new stuff because there's a lot of patch notes here. There are a few new quests, few new quest rewards, but a lot of them are returning ones from previous quest metas. So like, feel free to peruse. The full patch notes are in the description below the video. There's a lot there. You can read through it. I'm not going to take 4 hours to go through this with every last one of them. Regardless, new quests. Fill the cauldron, cast 9 spells. That's it. That's the new quest. There's one new quest. There really aren't that many quests, quest requirement quests. Like, what do you have to do to get your quest reward in this game? You can look. There's like, what, 12, 14, something like that there? I didn't count. It's some number approximately in that range. But that's not where the fun is, right? That's just like, oh, you got to jump over this hurdle to go get your fun little prize at the end of the trek. Here's the fun prizes. New returning rewards. New and returning rewards. The new ones, Beyond the Mirage. Tavern spells cost 1 less. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Tavern spells cost 1 less. Lubber strats, bro. We just went over this. We just went through this, Blizzard. Lubber, making it so you get tons of spells in the tavern, then make the spells practically free. There's so many stats to be had there. Is it going to make things infinite? Don't know. Are we going to have cheese lines? Yeah, probably with certain hero powers. We now have spells and quests and hero powers on top of each other. Something's going to break. Temporal tampering, your spells cast twice. So basically double effect on the spells. Splitting scroll, whenever you buy a tavern spell for 3 or more, get an extra copy of it. Which, maybe I'm missing something here, but I just look at this at a glance and be like, isn't that just worse than temporal tampering? Might have easier requirements to get online or something like that. So you're saying you get double effects for all spells from one of them, and the other one is only get an extra copy of high-cost spells. There's going to be something here, right? Like cards that get effects when you play the actual spell versus the spell triggering twice and all that kind of stuff. But man, at first glance, I'm still a little bit of a loss at why this isn't just better version of this. Shrug, whatever, moving on. Cycle of Energy. Avenge 4, get a random tavern spell. That seems really good. You're telling me that my Death Rattle Beast board is going to print a handful of spells every turn? That's like Sporebat. Sporebat's broken. There's so much value here. But then again, that's what quest rewards are, right? They're built around win conditions. There's tons of those kind of things. 3 golden minions, tons of stats per turn. 2 cards to make a triple. Like, there are so many of those things that are game defining and game warping. It's really hard to evaluate how broken they are because you have to figure out how quickly you can get to it and how stable you are if you're getting run over by boards that are also doing equally busted stuff, right? But Cycle of Energy does look on the surface like crazy level of value. Tons of tavern spells being created. Tumbling Disaster. Well, I probably shouldn't have gotten all excited about the previous one until I read this one. Tumbling Disaster. Whenever you summon a minion in combat, give it 1/1. Avenge 4, upgrade this permanently. Is it too early to go Blizzard? Blizzard, you just... It's gonna break the game. Isn't this just Goldrin comp without needing to put Goldrin on the board? So you just kind of get the quest reward in the middle of the game. You play a bunch of random death rattle minions. Those minions get extra 1/1s, 2/2s, 3/3, 4/4, 5/5, 6/6. Keeps ramping up over the course of the game. Then you just level and go look for like banana slammers and stuff. It really feels like this board is just like banana slammer plus Baron plus death rattle beast is just better Goldrin comp, and you don't even have to have Goldrin on the board. All right, well, let's take a step back again. Just went over this. It's really hard to evaluate how broken something is without knowing how quickly you can get to it in the game and how broken the other things that you're going to be fighting against are. But on the surface, that looks absurdly busted. I don't understand. That seems way too good. All right, double-headed reward. First time you buy a card each turn, get an extra copy of it. Hey, that feels like anomalies. That feels like one of the anomalies. First card that you buy each turn, you get an extra copy of. Huh. Gift of the Golden Kobold. After you refresh 5 times, make the highest tier minion in the tavern golden. So like kind of like the Golden Monkey quest or anomaly, but it actually turns the minion in the tavern golden. That's nuts. Just golden minions every 5 rolls, and it's going to be the best minion in the tavern, or at least the highest tavern tier one. That's turning golden as it is. Secret Culprit. Get a particular tier 7 minion. So now everybody has the opportunity to get back to tier 7s. Not just throw them out there with the tier 7 minions. Open auditions at the start of your turn. Discover a buddy. So just buddy every turn. Stash of the Scribe. At the start of your turn, get 3 random tavern spells. Okay. I mean, 3 random tavern spells is a lot of value. Stable Amalgamation. Avenge 7, when you have space, summon a 50/50 amalgam. I mean, I'm just thinking banana slammers, man. I'm just sitting over here with my banana slammers, investing in slammer stocks, looking at these quest rewards and going, oh, there are going to be monkeys everywhere. Oh, giant ass amalgams? That's got to be all tribes, right? Because it's an amalgam. Oh, that's a big spike in the middle of the game. Remember, there were a couple quests that did really, really, really well, quest rewards, that were just sheer tempo quests. If you can get this thing quick enough, then that just wins you a couple fights when you get it. And suddenly you're staring at top 4. Doesn't matter that you don't have the greatest late game. You're just like, ooh, look, easy, positive points. Moving on. Snicker Snack, Stolen Gold, Evil Twin. Hey, I recognize these words. Basically everything after this point, and there are a ton of quest rewards. Are the repeats from previous metas. We also have Volatile Venom and Tiny Henchman have been removed from the game. I think Tiny Henchman was removed because it was like really boring. Volatile Venom was super unpopular. There are a lot of death rattle boards that people didn't like fighting against. They spiked too hard in the middle of the game, etc., etc. Makes sense. If they're less fun and you're making room for new ones, they've also confirmed through Q&A, devs that is, that the new quest rewards will be offered at an increased rate initially. So like if you're looking at this like I was the first time and going, not a lot of new stuff, a lot of the old repeats. I'm going to be sad when I have to play the old stuff instead of playing the new stuff. They're going to offer the new ones way more often, at least for the initial portion of the patch, which will be cool. So you're going to see a lot of people playing these brand new guys. All right, moving on. Quests are coming back. Quest rewards changed up a bunch. Adding spells on top. If that isn't enough for you, a bunch of minion changes as well, and some spell changes. New minion, Eagle. Tavern Tier 3 Beast Murloc. I don't even need to read the card art. Look at that card art. This is going to be my new best buddy. I love all the bird cards in Hearthstone. Now we got Eagle. Scrubs quotes intensify times 100 in Twitch chat. Give another random friendly minion and a minion in your hand +2/+3. So this card is a 7/1 body on Tavern 3 that gives a 2/3 buff to something on the board and a 2/3 buff to something in the hand. Assuming that you can get all of those stats, like you can afford to be able to buy this card while holding something in your hand for a second. I mean, you just have to do it for the battle cry, right? You can put it back down on the board. That's a huge stat line. That's 11/7. Not to mention like a 7/1's a nice stat line in the middle of the game. Just my Tavern 3 minion. Seems pretty solid, on top of the fact that it gives you the ability to buff something in hand when you cycle these through for things like Banana Slammer pulling beast from your hand, like Bird, Fly Main that is, and a few others. Seems like there's good synergies here. And it doesn't even have to be a beast, it's just any minion. Vengeful Slitherer. I'm just going to scroll down to the art. Tier 3 5/1 spellcraft. Give your minions 1 health until next turn. Any that die in the next combat gain it permanently. So basically, if you lose in combats, this card is a spellcraft that gives 1 health to your entire board. And if you're winning combats, it's a card that gives a spellcraft that gives 1 health to part of your board, assuming that things are going to die. If you're winning and dealing 15 damage to people, this card is not going to do much for you. But it's an extra spellcraft minion. It's on Tavern 3. It's a solid stat line at a 5/1. At the very least, it's a 5/2, I should say, with the spellcraft spell. And most likely, if you have 5, 6, 7 minions on the board, then you're getting a 5/8 stat line off of this, which is, very consistent for a 3-star. Pretty cool to enable Spellcraft Naga a little bit more. Nothing super exciting. Now, the exciting. Saloon Dancer, Tier 4, 4/5 taunt. Whenever you cast a spell, give another friendly minion 3/3. Uh-oh! You've been asking for Menagerie. At least Twitch chat's been asking for Menagerie for a while now. That's a scaling 4-star that gives you amplification of playing spells which are already good in the game. Think about Paint Smudger, the cool board that gives a blood gem every time you play a spell, and how much that opens up the game. This is like Paint Smudger for everyone and doesn't require blood gem scaling. Is it possible that oh yeah, you can make blood gems that are a lot bigger than 3/3s? Sure. But this naturally has a 3/3 buff every time you play a spell. You can only need to play 1 spell before this thing is just paying itself back already. It's an auto buy. This thing is nuts. 4/5 stat line with a 3/3. 1 spell and it's already a huge buy for Tavern 4, let alone the recurring value turn after turn after turn after turn. Yeah. We're going to see Nala actually have some buddies to work with. Now it is a neutral. We're going to see a little bit more, we'll call it incentive to play on Tavern 4 instead of rush straight to the moon, because these kind of cards are very powerful if you can get them early enough. Augmented Laborer, Tier 5 Mech Demon, Dual Tribe. Avenge 4, get a random Mecha Demon. So the card that Mecha Jiraxis creates right now, the 3 Mecha Demons, assuming that those are the only Mecha Demons that exist in the game, you generate 1 of those per 4 minions killed. Or 4 minions on your board that die. So just another way of generating value over and over and over again with Avenge. Think about Witchwing and how strong it was, just printing out Battlecry minions. This is a very, very limited unit pool too, so getting triples when only 3 minions are eligible is pretty good. And then more than that, I mean, it can reborn itself. It can put the Avenges, whatever they call them, the Mecha Demons on itself after you've already played a few of these. You probably don't want to taunt it up, of course, being an Avenge unit. But give it Wind Fury, give it some extra attack, give it Reborn. Could be a pretty solid minion. Just getting a lot of value over time and generating gold. Felbor, Tier 6. We'll just scroll down. After you cast 3 spells, Tier 6, 1/4. Terrible stat line. After you cast 3 spells, consume a minion in the tavern and gain its stats. So it's like Felbat with conditions, huh? It's a demon Quillbor, so it kind of fits both tribes. If you cast a bunch of spells, it just starts eating the tavern. I mean, if the tavern isn't buffed, that seems pretty lackluster. But then again, think about Nala boards. You're casting the spells anyway. You might as well take some stats out of the tavern at the same time. It's got the synergy to be able to play magnetics into it, or at least the Mecha Jiraxis magnetics into it because it's a demon. Synergizes with Quillbor for blood gem synergies. Kind of bridges some interesting gap because we haven't had that demon Quillbor crossover before. Dread Stomper. Basically, it's Spell Stomper with 2 tribes now. Undead Beast instead of just being a beast. If you remember Fell Stomper back in the day, it looks like they changed the stat line slightly to a 2/6. After you summon a minion in combat, give your minions 3 attack. It's basically a super strong tempo card. And whenever you play a Death Rattle Beast board, where you're in a pinch with a Banana Slamma board, you can put a lot of attack on the board quickly, summon a bunch of stuff, use that to run people down while you stabilize and look for your, Goldrun pivot or whatever it might be. And then this thing. I don't even know what to say about this thing. Whirling Lassomatic, Tier 6 Mech, 9/2 Divine Shield. Okay, first of all, holy shit, that stat line. Wind Fury. Okay, Wind Fury in Mech now by default. And whenever this attacks, get a random tavern spell. I mean, mechs need help, I know, but everybody's gonna run this. I get the concept of like make mechs stronger. Yeah, cool. Mechs need some help right now, but like, think about like the tier 6 dragon that prints out 2 tavern spells per turn. Is a shitty little body, no divine shield, no effects, no whatever. And then put it side by side with this Lassomatic, who's over here pounding people, doing 2 9 damage attacks minimum, and generating the spells. Like, it's nuts. That's a ton of value from a Tavern 6 minion. It's going to be one of the best cards in the game to hit. Because when you get it, you are just capable of leveling the 6, because that's a huge tempo spike. And you get the recurring value turn after turn after turn. All right. No freaking out. Not until we actually get to play with the card, but that looks real strong. Minion updates. So we have some minions being removed, minions being brought back. Your Rel is back. I'm not going to go too heavily through this because there's a lot of stuff here. But your Rel, after this attacks, give friendly minions +1/+2, or minion of each type, I should say. So like Pseudo Menagerie tutoring early in the game. A lot of tempo there. 1/2 stat line is a lot. A minion just being a 1/4 that generates even 2 buffs is a 3/6 temporary in combat. And like a Urel board versus a non-Urel board, the Urel board wins like 90% of the time. Rindle's back on Tavern 4. At the end of your turn, steal the highest Tavern tier card from the Tavern. So basically just get a card over and over and over again. Missed my buddy, my sunglassy bro. Blue Shell's back. Lose the round, get 5 gold. Woohoo! Comeback mechanism. And Mantid Queen is back. Now you might be thinking, why add more Venom to the game? You know the answer to this already. Because they remove cards when they add cards. Murghul is gone. Spoiler alert. It's coming here in a second. But Murghul is being rotated out. Mantid back in its place. Utility Drone got nerfed down to a 1/1 again. Back down on Tavern 4. Kind of building around the new mech core. Scrap Scraper's going up to Tavern 5, but also getting more stats. Interesting that they're swapping places. Skyfin is... the same? It's, what changed? Why is Skyfin on this list? Did it say, like, when you play a Battlecry before, now it says when you trigger a Battlecry, maybe? Alright, well, the Skyfin is a 1/3 that after you trigger Battlecry gains 1/1. Moving on. I think it's just, that's a change. Who knows? I'll have to look into it after the review. I didn't even notice that before. Belldrake is being changed so the golden version consumes 3 minions still and gets double the stats instead of eating 6 minions from the Tavern. Now it stacks with Bran, gives you an additional method of playing this with like Murkai without eating everything in the Tavern all at once. And instead, like you could have 2 of these to get double the stats from Murkai, so on and so forth. Just a much easier board to play, or a much easier card to get full advantage of. So you can play it with like Bran and Bran spell and all that kind of stuff. And then the spell changes. Minions changing, quests coming back, getting spells at the same time as quest, a bunch of new quest rewards and one new quest, and then on top of that, the spells themselves are changing now. There's a lot here, a lot in this brand new patch. Swap or Fluidity, tier 3, 1 gold. Swap a friendly non-golden minion with a random one in the Tavern. That's a 1 gold Jandis hero power. Everybody can swap their Felementals now. Everybody can potentially do like double play some key buddies or whatever it might be. That's a 1-cost spell to get a lot of value from key minions. Pick up a card, put it back in your hand. So if you get forced into that awkward scenario of having to put, say, for example, Bream Counter or something like that down on the board, then maybe you can still find a way to pick it back up in your hand if you eventually find base skill or whatever. It's just like, this is such a cool effect. It makes you want to, like, I love playing Jandis because like all the flexibility of what you can do. Now everybody's going to have that mechanic. Toxic Tumbleweed, tier 4, 2 gold. Start of combat, summon a 1/1 tumbling assassin with Venomous. It attacks immediately. I have questions. I don't really know how this is going to work. I've never heard clarification on it, but my assumption would be that you need to have an open board spot for this to summon at the beginning of combat. So it's going to force you to play 6 minions, but it does give you a way to get a Venom minion when you're in a pinch over here. You fight in a Master Realities board and you have no way to get past the taunt, the spell's got your back. You're fighting some weird big stat taunt board, Venom's got your back. You're fighting anybody with half of a brain cell, Venom's going to run into a small taunt. Like, I don't see this being very good. There's going to be a niche place where it's useful, but like, oh my god, now that we all know this exists as a spell too, you're just going to play around it naturally. We already do that. Almost everybody plays small taunts nowadays. At least, if you can't untaunt your minions, you taunt multiple minions. Because cleave isn't really that threatening, especially when you position around it. And losing a key minion to a Bramble Witch, to a lead poison like a Belcher, or whatever it might be. Just like the fact that there's so much of that kind of mechanic that exists in the game, small taunts are pretty common at the moment. Now they're going to be even more common. Tumbleweed, I doubt sees much impact, but you know what? Who knows? This will probably save us at some point, and we'll eat our words. Channel the Devourer. Tier 6, 4 gold. Remove a minion, give its stats to a random friendly one. So mutinous hero power, basically. Or the effect of it. You don't gain a gold. But 4 gold to consume a minion in your board and then just spit its stats on something else. Okay. No longer do you have to sell off that big minion when you want to get a scam card at the end of the game. You can pick up the spell. The spell can then consolidate stats on the board and open up a space. Allows you a little bit more flexibility with mid-game scaling boards before you get into a final board state. Like, say, for example, if you find Nala and you're trying to pivot toward beasts or whatever it might be, that you could take 1 or 2 of those big minions that you created with Nala and then just consume them and drop them on a Baron and a Banana Slammo, whatever it might be. Flexibility. Nice, cool effect. 4 gold is super expensive. Then again, look at all the ways we have for generating spells. Look at how many of the quests had, like, when you buy a spell of 3 cost or higher, generate an extra copy of it. You're going to see stats move around a lot. Big cleaves made at the end of the game out of nowhere. Because these kind of effects are very powerful if you have the ability to utilize them. And then you're going to see all kinds of people that just like spitting out a handful of spells happen to get multiple Channel the Devourers, and then suddenly their board's a completely different set of units. Who knows? It's really, really hard to buy a 6 gold Divine Shield card, but that doesn't stop people from having Divine Shields all over their boards. As long as we can generate spells, expensive stuff like this, we'll still have a place. And then last but not least, and I say last but not least, there's a lot more, but after this point, you're going to be looking at the video and like, huh, there's still a lot of time there. But we have tribal spells being added. Spells that are specific to only in games of their specific tribe. This is Scavenge for Parts. It's a mech spell. If mechs are in the game, this spell exists. Tier 4, at the end of your turn, get a random magnetic. This lasts for 3 turns. So basically 3 magnetic space this turn, next turn, the turn after that, added to your hand at the net cost of 4 gold. Well, we've talked about magnetic stuff being good. We saw that the magnetic buffer got moved down to Tavern 4, and now we have Avenge units on Tavern 6 that are printing out spellcraft spells. Kind of looks kind of cool for the new mechs. Is it going to be enough to put them on par with some of the more broken things that exist in the game at the moment? Don't know. The mechs do one thing very well, and that is play for now. When you have the ability to print even more stuff that gives you power early, okay, I'm buying it. The 4 gold cost, might not be buying that though. This seems super expensive. Cloning Conch, or Conch if you are a SpongeBob lover. Get a copy of a Murloc in your hand. Only offered in Murloc games. It doesn't say plain copy, guys. Guys, it doesn't say plain copy. Guys, I don't want to fight no. I mean, Murlocs need a little help, but like, I don't want to fight a board full of gigantic thousand Murglers. Oh, I'm just going to make 1 big Bream counter. Oh, it's golden now. That's cool. Guess I have 2. Now I have 3. Now I have 4. It's going to keep all its stats. It's going to keep its golden. Like if you got a golden Murghul, you could then just make it into 2 golden Murghuls or whatever it might be. Lies. Murghul's been removed from the game. Bad example. A golden Belcher or whatever it would be. The card is not in the game anymore. How do we get past the minion section and not see the cards being removed from the game? Huh, weird order. I'm gonna have to go track that down in a second. But yeah, this could be big Murlocs printed out of nowhere. You have 1, it's now 2, it's now 3, it's now 4. Kind of like looking at this thing and seeing the double spell proc, or seeing like your spell of 3 or higher you get 2 copies of. That's a lot of power as a quest reward. Goes with the goop. Tier 4, 4 gold. This is only in dragon games. At the end of your turn, give your dragons 3 or 4 attack. Last 3 turns. So basically 12 attacks based over the next 3 turns. 4 gold for a bunch of attack. Seems really good early and really bad late. Like you get yourself a couple Divine Shield dragons and you use this to power level to 6. Cool. That 1 turn on Tavern 4 just got a lot better for dragons. If you don't have a board full of dragons, this is pretty low value, and at 4 gold cost, it's just super expensive. Boon of Beetles, only offered in Beast games. Start of combat, give your minions Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 beetle. Don't have Death Rattle beasts? Look no further. You now have Boon of the Beetles, where every minion is now a Death Rattle beast. Good luck griefing your own board when you're playing this with Horse. No, it seems good. It's just more Death Rattles to spawn on a beast board in the middle of the game, especially with Avenge synergies existing. Could make for some pretty nasty milking. And it's only 2 cost, so pretty solid. Much easier to weave 2 cost in than 4 cost in. Butchering, only offered in undead games. Destroy a friendly undead. Your undead have attack equal to its tier this game. All right, I think the wording could use work, because the way that reads, it's going to set your undead's attack to the value of the tier of the thing you destroyed. I need clarification. I need help on this one. I think what it's trying to say is you destroy a minion and you add that to like the undead aura. The plus X attack to undead. Destroy a minion, your undead have attack equal to its tier this game. Yeah, that one's oddly worded, but I'm imagining like you kill a 2-star minion and your undead for the rest of the game will have 2 additional attack. You destroy a 4-star minion, your undead gain 4 attack permanently for the rest of the game. Like all of the other undead aura attack type of scalings work. Weird wording though. Suspicious Stimulant, only offered in elemental games. Freeze a minion in the tavern. If it's frozen at the end of the turn, double its stats. So Nomi Elemental's got a buff. Get a big buff into the tavern, freeze this thing with it at the end of the turn, get the nice little doubled effect, pick it up at the beginning of the next turn, and move on with your life. So basically you can get a double Nomi aura to the tavern. You could theoretically get multiple ones of these and freeze multiple times to quadruple or octuple or whatever it would be, but let's think of the logistics of that. I don't think that one's happening. Steam's pretty good for cards like Divine Shields and Elementals, or premium effects like Wildfire. You can still triple them eventually to get all of that additive aura applied to them. Just a big tempo spike in the middle of the game next turn for Elementals. Elementals are pretty slow already. Spending 2 gold to get no value this combat is already a pretty big ask. But who knows? Might work out if you get ahead. All right, scrolling down. Spite Scale Special. Get 3 random spellcraft spells. Tier 3, 2 cost. Seems terrible on Tavern 3. Seems amazing once you have gains on Tavern 6. That's a spell that generates 3 more spells. That's 4 spells for 2 gold. Gains gonna get big real fast. Not to mention the effects of the 3 spells. Then again, thinking about this, 2 cost for 3 spellcraft spells is pretty low because it's all temporary stats, right? But if you don't have Lava Lurker, or like if you have Lava Lurker in the middle of the game, and this gives you access to something like Stealth that you're looking for, Divine Shield once you're on Tavern 5, there's going to be a place where this is used outside of gains boards. But it really looks like a spell that's like, oh, Lord of Gains loves this spell. Corrupted Cupcakes. Great art. Love it. Only in demon games. Choose a friendly demon. It consumes all minions in the tavern to gain their stats. So did they just give everybody Feldrake? Does this not feel like you're just going to want to have a demon in every board state? Because whenever you see this thing, you're like, ah, yeah, cool. I'll take that free 20/20 plus. Yeah, I mean, like, it's better for demons, but, like, anybody can have a demon and make use of this. It's not like this thing gets better as you have more demons. Interesting. I feel like this just, like, kind of buffed Shudderwalk and Feldrake and stuff like that a lot more than it buffed demons as a whole. This doesn't, it should be something like, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here, just on a whim. But if they would have made it something like each of your demons consumes a minion from the tavern and doubles its stats or something like that, it'd be way more tempting to like give a big buff to a bunch of demons, incentivize having more than one demon on the board. But we already have like a lot of boards that are just a Feldrake, and then people will just trigger that consume the tavern every time they find trigger a battle cry. This is just going to be another way to do that. Feldrakes everywhere, guys. They're going to be all over the place. Plunder Seeker. Steal a random card from the tavern, repeat for every friendly pirate. Like that. That's what I'm talking about. Like, now this one incentivizes you to play more pirates. I feel like this should have been something like that for demons. Choose a friendly demon, it consumes a minion from the tavern, repeat for each demon. And that way they could have made it a little bit cheaper, but incentivized you to go wider on demons. Like that. Tier 4 is 6 gold. That's a lot of gold, but you steal a card for every pirate that's on your board. If you have at least like 4 or 5 pirates, you can basically steal the whole tavern. And it's going to cost you like net 2 gold, net 1 gold. Just get yourself a nice little swing there. Not to mention, like, you can sell them all back, which counts as gold spent or gold gained each time you sell them, which synergizes with a bunch of the pirate units. Still really expensive. 6 gold's clunky. You pretty much have to be a full pirate board before, you know, maybe 4+ pirates before you even consider buying this. Gem Confiscation. Tier 4, 1 gold. Play 2 gems on a friendly minion. It steals all gems from its neighbor. So why isn't this just named Necrolite? It's just the effect of Necrolite. All right, fair enough. Necrolite the spell. 1 cost, 4, or Tavern 4. Only available in Cool Board games. These cards have been removed from the pool. I'm looking for Necrolite. Oh, there it is. That would make sense. They removed Necrolite, but they kept the mechanic in the game. Fairy Tale Caroler. 2/2 buff to minions, all your minions after you've lost to combat. Bramble Witch is gone. Ooh. Scam minion removed. Observer of Myths. That's the 3 cost 1/4 that gives attack for a minion whenever you play a minion that has more attack than the Observer of Myths. Scourfin, 3-star 3/3 Murloc that buffs the hand 5/5. I could keep doing all these. They didn't put the art for some reason on them. Withered Spearhide is the undead Quillbore dual tribe minion that death rattles blood gems. Mechadraxus is gone, which I guess makes sense because they made a different way of printing out the mecha demons. Percussionist is the Discover demon on Tavern 5. Octosari, Octopus on Tavern 6 for Beast. Cow, Neozo, the Cleave Beast. Bejeweled Duelist is the 2-star Taunt Elemental. Trembling Trolley is your Death or your Avenge, generate spellcraft spells, mech. And Adaptable Barricade is that, 118 or 18-1 stat line that changes its health based upon when it gets attacked in the mech tree. 6 new minions have been added back. Thorncaller, Cyclone, Urel, Rendell, Tortoran, Blue Shell, and Mantic Queen. Murghul. I just skipped over Murghul. I was like, I know Murghul's been removed. That's the first thing I looked up when I saw Mantic Queen being added back. Murghul's got to be gone, right? Oh, I just skipped it. Murghul's gone too. Thorncaller was it got changed in stat line a couple times, but it was like a 3-star cool bore that said Battle Cry and Death Rattle, gain a blood gem. It's like a 4/3 stat line. We'll see what they comes back as stats wise. And Crackling Cyclone is the 3-star elemental with Divine Shield. The Wind Fury 4/1 Divine Shield elemental. So Divine Shield is back in the elemental tribe. 2 tavern spells have been removed. Jaws of Fate, that's Yogg. And Buddy Up, which is the one to discover a buddy, aptly named. Bug fixes, etc., etc. I'm not going all the way through this. This has already been long enough. It's a 30-minute patch review. I basically read to you guys, but I'm pretty hyped. Look at all of this new stuff. Look at we're getting quests on top of spells, man. I just love the fact that spells are around for this as well. Look at new Blazing Skyfin. I gotta go figure out what's changed on that. But yeah, the easier access to magnetics on Tavern 4 than having utility drone on Tavern 4 is going to make like Deflectobot a lot stronger. Some busted new cards. Like, what is this thing? What the hell? This is just way too strong. And then we got all kinds of new shit. This is going to be fun to play with. This reminds me kind of like, what's its name? Fireworks. When Fireworks was in the game, the 4-star that whenever you played a minion that you had another copy of, it gave a buff to the tavern or buff to the board. So you're just like playing a bunch of pairs type of thing. This is going to just give you incentive to get more saloon dancers and then play a bunch of spells. Going to make Lubber better once again. Reliability of spells in the tavern. And Eagle. Eagle. All right. I think that's good enough. I think we've covered that. In case you guys got to this point and you're like, I didn't listen to the first couple sentences, Bofur. This is live. They just dropped this on us like already live. Or at least like live soon, depending on what device you're on. As soon as this video goes live, this patch is live. Pretty much. Like right then. Happening today. So go out there and enjoy. See you guys out there on Twitch or next YouTube video or whatever. New gameplay coming tomorrow for the new patch. All right, take care, guys. Have a great night. Peace.